Queens.
Culture Queens in the
Queens.
building.
We are.
Krazy RACE, Raza
In the
loca.
house.
That's right.
Bada bing, bada bing.
Representing the Raza.
And we're ready, so we out. Oh, and then that guy that got caught, that Cesar Hernandez, that just got caught in Tijuana.
Oh, the Menendez brothers might be getting out.
Okay, roll, just roll. Hey, every time you roll, we're going
Roll the booty, beautiful beam footage.
Right?
Oh!
So check this out. What's cracking? What's up? You're here with Vanessa Prieto, also known as Miss Loretta Princess, and you're rolling with the Culture Queens today.
Hey.
What's up? This is Santanera. We're already getting into it, man. Let's go.
Right.
First of all, y'all scared me with that Menendez brother.
Hey,
she's
Oh, she's going to say her name.
Get
her big red chula. She has some super tamales.
Don't give her tamales anymore because she be talking too
Those
much.
tamales got energy.
I got all happy
there
right
is
now.
also big red chula in the house.
I thought she
You
said
got tamale right here.
Oh, got tamale right there? Okay, I'm going to talk like this throughout the show.
Okay, you guys have to roll it out.
Okay.
Roll it
Do
again.
it over.
No, that shit was fun.
Yeah, okay.
Now you got to do it over.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so I thought you said it. See, I was just like this, tuning into everybody, like, yeah, I just have my tamales, and I heard you talk, and I thought you had said, welcome to...
This one. This one.
What we heard talking to? Woo.
Who is it?
She got tamale hypnotized
I'm talking to
over
the
here.
next door neighbor right here.
She ain't even drinking.
This is what happens to her when
Me
she
and
gets
Crazy are the only
sleepy.
ones drinking here.
Yes.
She gets sleepy,
I
she starts
get
talking.
sleepy. Oh my God,
She either
dude.
starts talking a lot or she's going to get mad. So you get either or.
Once I eat, I get happy, and then I'm just like, dude, I'm in La La Land. But the tamales were amazing. They're good.
Yeah.
And-
Shout out to our tamalero in East LA, right in front of that park that they did the memorial for the Los Tigres del Norte. You can find them
It
there.
was so good. I
Yeah.
had a couple tamales on my paper plate, and then you just seen sparks flying off of it. It was good.
I had the queso con rajas. Oh my God, that's bomb.
I
Did
had
you
it
eat?
in the
Yeah,
red.
I had one too.
She said,
And
just
that's
one?
Big Red
Goddamn.
Chula for the introduction.
Sorry about that.
Whatever. I was the culture
I was
queen.
all trying
Big
to get
Red
into
Chula
place.
here.
That Menendez brothers is scary, okay? Because that's what we're talking about before we got rudely interrupted by a third person in here.
Just a little redhead, that child over here.
What do you guys think about? I know you. I know how you feel. I heard a little bit when we were talking. That's scary too. But what do you guys feel about them?
Well,
trying to come out?
it's you know, the whole story is sad because if it was happening where they was
Yeah.
getting molested by their parents, I mean,
That's
because you gotta think it was not one of them that was just, it was both of them that plot. So there was definitely something going on right there.
Okay, so do you feel like because, well, you know, I'm just going over based on the movie and the documentaries that they've done. Do you think that's true? Do you think they were really molested by the parents and the mom turned the other cheeks? Or do you feel like it was something that we're saying to save themselves?
I mean, they were pretty young to, you know, so let's get a little bit into it. A lot of, you know, I mean, they're Menendez, so I don't know they're Hispanic, but a lot of Hispanic communities, when a kid comes out and says that, like, their tío molested or something, sometimes people don't believe him. They don't believe him. And you know what? I always said this shit.
They brush it under the rug.
But when a kid tells you they've been molested, believe him. I've heard people even say, like, you know, if there's, oh, she was fast. What the fuck? She was fast. She's fucking 10 years old. She, you know, so I don't know. It could have happened. Now, do I believe they should get out? Yeah, I believe that. I believe in second chances. On that note, I also believe that if they're getting out, there's a lot of the homies and a lot of people that are incarcerated that have been served 25 years that have made a change, and they deserve an opportunity to get out. So that's my
What
thought
about
on
you?
that.
What do you think?
I don't know, you know, just watching it, it's just kind of crazy, like, you know, but I believe in that too, you know, a lot of kids, like, more than, you know, you think, people get molested. Like, I talk to everybody, it's like almost like 9 out of 10 people, you know, but just the story, the way they killed their parents was just kind of like vicious, just like angry, like, it was just kind of crazy to me. So I don't have an opinion really. I'm just kind of like, wow.
Yeah,
you know, I just
I'm the
took
same.
it back.
It's kind of hard because we don't know the truth. We weren't there, so how do we? You know what I'm saying? How do we go about that? Like, it sucks, but I can't say, yeah, they should deserve to be released. And I can't say they deserve to be in prison. I don't know. I don't have all the facts. But it's sad the way they murdered their mom and their dad. But why both? You know what I'm saying? For me personally, just, that's why you can't believe everything. But it was just more because they were spoiled rich kids and the money was taken from them. You know what I'm saying? So their daddy wasn't giving them money. And what do? Like, they know they were kids that were well off, and they figured, okay, well, daddy cut us from the money, but we're next, you know what I'm saying, on the inheritance, so they're gone. We could splurge, which they did.
They did. That's what
they did. You know what I'm saying? Once they killed their parents, they went on a shopping spree. They had bitches, they had money, hotels. You know what I'm saying? But how do you go about that though? They got everything that they wanted.
It's hard, it's hard, but maybe they're changed, and only God could judge you.
Yeah.
Who knows? A lot of people that are coming out, I'm gonna say it, but I'm not gonna say it.
What were
But
you gonna say? I want to know what. Now I'm curious to see what you're gonna say, right?
What I really believe is, like, the persons for me who should fucking never be out cages is serial rapists, molesters, like crazy killers, you know what I mean? But I don't know.
What's a crazy killer to you?
Somebody that just kill, like that.
Serial killer.
A serial killer.
Yeah,
not
no,
crazy killer, but
the serial killers.
Like,
gotta
because
stay
it's
in
like,
prison.
how are you going to release somebody like that that's been killing? This dude was young. I mean, who knows? I mean, I'm nobody to really say leave him in there or bring him out. But I do. If you're giving them a chance, and then you have a homeboy that robbed, and you give him 25 to life, or you gave him life, I mean, he deserves to come out, and that's my major
100%.
thing. And I seen Kim Kardashian she's a big supporter to the Menendez, and she's like calling. I've been watching the Kardashians, and she's been like calling for them to get released. So, may be God's decision, whatever, to put it into the judges. I mean, I can't say yes or no. People change. Like I said, for me, if you're a rapist or a serial killer, you deserve to stay in there. Other than that, it's like other crimes are like, and we don't know their story. It could have been that though, that they would spoil kids, because when you don't educate your kids, when you don't raise your kids right, and
that part too.
it's crazy, man. I be watching some of these documentaries, how people just turn and they're just crazy. They're like, Fred. What's that guy? Michael Myers. You know what I mean? I mean, his mom, I loved him. But he was.
I think sometimes when our kids are doing wrong, because the way we raise our kids now, it's different. Like, you know what I'm saying? They get to drink water bottles. We used to fucking drink from the manguera outside. You know what I'm saying? My kids get to open up a water bottle and drink it. My dad, go outside, lock the fucking door. We used to be locked out. We can't even do that to our kids these days. We can't lock them outside.
Because it's child abuse.
And then we got treated, I guess, in a way a little bit hard. Where we don't want to treat our kids like that. My mom, the chunk, I will know how to duck, all the time, because any little thing, there goes a chancla, you know what I mean? And our kids, I mean, how many times have you guys hit your kids? I mean, have you guys even hit them, We don't. We try to show him love, but there's got to be also, you got to be a little bit strong with them, not just love, because that's what, makes them all.
And literally, like, sit down and talk about things and stuff. Like, I had to get on my son the other day, too. Quick story. He's a spoiled kid, and he thinks that he calls the shots. Like, he quit a basketball. Like, my girlfriend, she's a coach, and this is for an elementary. He quit because they lost, like, twice back to back, and I don't know if he felt like he was the best one on the team or what, but he quit. And I went to go pick her up, and because I didn't believe him, I'm like, you fool, you better not. You know what I'm saying? Quit. So anyways, I go into the parent line to pick up my daughter, and she was like, hey, I just want to let you know that Frosty quit. I was like, oh, now my blood's boiling. I was like, oh, he did? I was like, all right, cool. Go to the house. I go, come here. I was like, hey, you quit the team? I said, that's not cool. You know what I'm saying? I said, I get off of work. I pick you up. I pick you up after practice. I take you to the thing. I said, that's messed up, what you did to me, what you did to the coach and the teammates. Anyways, a couple of days later, he comes out putting on the NFL, the draft, right? The draft, and I'm cooking dinner, and he goes, like he said something like, "Mom, I'm gonna be some kind of superstar athlete." I said, "No, you're not." And I could be like, "Yes, you are, mijo. Oh, yes,
Right.
you are." I said, "No, you're not." I said, "Because you're a quitter." And your kids have to hear that shit.
Yeah.
I didn't want to tell
Yeah.
him that, but I had to tell
Yeah.
him. I'm like, dude, you're a quitter.
Gotta
Go, you're
stand
not going to
straight.
make it. You're going to quit before you even fucking start. I'm going to tell you why. Your other teammates, they're the MVP. Why? Because they still stood in there. You let me down, you let your coach down, and you let your team members down, dude. I go, you failed. I said, no, dude. I go, they're the MVP. They're still in there hanging on and like, still playing. You left. You're a quitter. You quit. Like, I was so mad and angry because that's not how I was. You know what I'm saying? Like, if that was me, my dad would probably freaking get the belt or something like that, but I had to tell him verbally, like,
Tough love.
you're not going to do that. Like, your teammates are the one that's the MVP. And you know what? He finished up his dinner, and then, like, he had to walk away to think about it. And he just looked at me because I don't ever tell him, no, you're not going to make it. I had to tell him, if you keep quitting, if you quit because something's not going your way, how are you going to make it?
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that settled. And,
And that's good. That's
Make 'em
really
think
good
about
because
it.
No, for
most of the
sure.
time we'll be like, okay, we're just. But you have to tell them. You gotta talk to them. About everything because there's a lot of things going right now with this generations now. Drugs are out there. You know what I mean? Like there's there's
Fentanyl. It's
yeah.
bad right now.
Fentanyl, and they're coming with them in lollipops. Like you guys gotta talk to your kids and teach them. Take them downtown. Show them the homelands. Show them like, Lord, this is what drugs do to you. Because if you don't talk to your kids, the streets are gonna talk to them.
Yeah, you gotta let them know. Like, edibles are everywhere now, and it's crazy. You never know what's in there and stuff. I had like another situation. I was in the truck or whatever, picked up my daughter. I had a protein bar. It was just a protein bar. Left it in the truck. Went on home for my lunch break. This is when they were on spring break, and she's over there freaking with my protein bar eating it. I'm like, oh my
shit.
God, here
Yeah,
we go
yeah.
again. Stop eating shit that you think that it's mine. Like, you know what I'm saying? What happens if it was a coworker and she left it in my truck?
And it was an edible.
You
yeah,
know what I'm
yeah.
saying? Like, I have to tell them, like, I'm so scared of the fucking world these days. What you just don't know. Like, I'm on my kids, and I have to tell them, don't do this, don't do that. Remember back in the day, we're able to just be kicked out. We get left in the car at the bar where our parents were at the bar and shit. Nobody called the cops and stuff. Now everything is so different. Candy bars that have fucking
Just
drugs
stuff, yeah.
look like, protein bars or whatever. So it's just
Different times. Different
times,
Yeah,
man. And then
definitely.
social, and that's another thing too with social media too. Like, fuck social media. You know what I'm saying? I like everybody. The people I get
Out for
it.
clout.
A lot of people are making money off of social media or whatever. And then there's a lot of people that are fucking killing themselves on social media because there's bullies on social media.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? You're over here calling this person fucking a name and this person, and you feel like other people have to look a certain type of way, and those people are going to end up fucking killing themselves, or they go under the knife thinking they have to look like some type of person and dying under the knife. It's like, why? You know what I'm saying?
You gotta be strong-minded, especially like the youth. I'm talking to the youth. If you're gonna get into like all the social media, don't believe it. It's fake. Nothing is real. Social media is a whole lot of fake. Marriages ain't happy. The people ain't rich. You know what I mean? They're flashing their income tax money. Like all this kinds of stuff. It's not real. You know what I mean? A lot of things it's just for show. That's exactly what social media is. It's just for show. It's a whole bunch of lies.
It's entertainment.
Show and clout.
It's entertainment. But you motherfuckers who are bullying people, shut the fuck up. A lot of you guys are private. A lot of you guys are fucking
Don't even
marked
have
out
a
private.
picture.
You guys, I bet you anything, your wife, your
Cyberbullies.
daughters, or whatever. Let me tell. They must be superstars or models walking on the fucking avenue or some shit. You know what I'm saying?
Vanessa's on a good one
Yeah,
today.
you know what?
But you know
it wasn't
what?
that much. But you know what happened? There was we posted like a video of we're dropping this Tuesday's a video, and there was this dude. He's calling us tias and tortas and all this, right? And I'm like, whatever. We look good for being
I'm a
tias and
tia,
tortas.
and I do like tortas.
And we do
So-
eat tortas.
So me being me, because sometimes I clap back. I'm like, whatever. I ain't got nothing to do right now. Let me clap back. So I go into his profile, and he was calling us tortas, right? I go to his profile, and then his wife is this torta, this bigger torta, And I was like, oh hell no! And I posted because he had it public. And I posted, say, oh, so this is your torta? You know what I mean? And he deleted that comment from our thing. It's just like you over here criticizing.
That's
You know what I mean?
that's
It's-
what
Santanera is known to call you out. So if you post anything, you comment on her shit, she will call you out. She will look through your shit. So just a warning.
And none of my feelings are hurt because I don't even.
We
give
don't
a
get
damn.
hurt.
Like,
We don't get hurt.
You guys don't pay our bills or nothing. But sometimes I got that extra time that I'm like just like.
But
Yeah,
we
we
do.
have thick skin, so I don't give a fuck. You can say the fucking meanest and cruelest thing, but
Roll
I'm gonna
it with
tell
the
you,
culture
there's
queen
other
right
people
here.
out there that don't
don't.
have thick skin. There's other little girls and young guys that they don't have thick skins and they end up hurting themselves over fucking dumb comments that you guys make, and you guys are not even perfect yourselves.
And remember,
Right.
karma's a bitch. It might not fall onto you. It might fall onto your kids.
Yeah.
To your
But
parents.
We
So
have
let's do
Rolling
better.
with the Culture Queens. We have a great show today, and we're gonna get into it. My homie, longtime homie, underground hip hop, Krazy RACE is here joining us. So I'm super excited to have you on our
What's up?
podcast.
Nice to have you.
Thank you, ladies. Culture Queens, we in the building.
So tell me,
Awesome.
how long have you been doing underground hip hop? When did you start? How old were you?
It's a good question. Officially, I would say
A long time,
long-
right? Because
long-
I was
long-
young
yeah, no,
when
I've
I
been
first
doing
got
it for a
introduced
long
to it.
time, but I would say like, you know what I mean? When I consider myself really like an underground head and really do it, I was probably like, high school, 17, 18 years old. Put out my first EP, 2004, but was already doing music and creating and doing that shit 98, 99. We started the group, the Krazy RACE. We started off as a group, as a collective, and we started that in 91,
Damn.
which is basically high school, right? That was my
Yeah.
graduating year. Yeah, I said it.
Wow.
don't count his age.
Yeah, well, calculate that shit. It's all good. But yeah, no, I've been doing it a long time. You know what I mean? It's just, and I would have never anticipated or never even thought about I would still want to create and still do music.
And
You
a
know what
lot
I
of
mean?
people
And I
know
am.
you everywhere. Like they
I
see the
don't know
name
about
and
that.
it's
She's
like,
pumping me
oh,
up.
no. I put
No,
it out
yeah.
there. They're like, oh shit, or if I take a picture with you, like, oh, Krazy RACE, they know you everywhere because you've been where? Japan.
Yeah, been a few places. You know what I mean? Been definitely blessed to be able to do some, this music thing and underground hip hop. You know what I mean?
What got you into this? What got you into the scene, the industry? What made you want to do music?
I would do music is one thing, but what got me into I'll kind of rewind it there, but what got me into hip hop obviously was hearing hip hop for the first time,
Yeah.
right? I was, raised on funk, soul, mariachis, and just a whole, classic rock, a whole plethora of different music. But when I first heard hip hop, you know what I mean? I'm talking, I think my aunt played the Sugar Hill Gang record, figure that record was dropped in 79, you know what I mean? And by the time KDAY and the Mixmaster Show, like I mentioned before, Tony G and Julio G and
From
Rob-
KDAY
DJ,
93.5. Yeah.
I'm talking. Yeah, what was the original? 103. Yeah, what did you say?
Yeah, not Katie. It was 93.5.
No,
Or-
before that.
Oh,
Before that, 1580. It was 1580
Oh,
a.m. So that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking when I'm 10, 11 years old was the first time I heard K-Day. So being able to hear those records for the first time and those artists getting broken from like Ice-T and Kumo D and some of the East Coast cats, I was like, yo, this shit's dope. Okay. So it obviously, embedded in me somewhere where it became part of the DNA. And next thing you know, I started picking up the pen and, trying to, create and be a poet myself and write rhymes. And they're probably cheesy as fuck, let's be honest. But, hey, it starts somewhere.
hey,
right?
but you know what? Sometimes, like I said, you get those feels. Like there's certain type of artists that I could relate to. Some people might not be able to, but that's why you become fans because people
Yep.
relate to what your poetry, what you're writing, what you're going through.
Yep.
You
Yeah,
know?
absolutely. Absolutely. And I feel like a big part of what I've done over the years across all my albums is I touch on certain subjects, right? Like it's almost like, every album, it becomes like an audio book or a cinema, but, audibly, right? So you have, I'm always going to give you, 2 or 3 joints that may have a socially conscious or political factor. Others are going to be about life and what I'm currently going through. And then I'm going to do the underground boom bap shit because that's just what I'm a fan of. You know what I mean? And obviously for the culture. So it's always like you're going to find that on every one of Krazy RACE albums since I put out my first album back in 04. Even the 99, because in 99 I put out the EP, The Time Has Come. My first full-length album was New World Games in 2004, and there's been 7 studio albums since. Now I'm working on number motherfucking 8.
That's
Wow.
That's dope.
And
We're
you had said
excited.
you weren't going to, and then you decided to. What
Yeah, I do that shit
What
all the
changed your
time.
mind? You heard one of yours?
Yeah, for me, I think it's just I get inspired, right? Like I'm a big fan of music in general, like all genres of music. But lately, I've been on my funk and soul trip, and classic rock, a lot of '60s, '70s, finding these one-offs, 45s that some rare shit. And I hear it and it influences me. Like, look, this is just like a fucking two-sider that not many people even know who this is, right? I'm like, independently, I kind of feel like that with my own music. So I'm like, the more I could put out there, what I'm saying, the more they're gonna know, and what my legacy is gonna be left behind. And my music's gonna speak for itself. So for me, it's just like I get the itch, and then I hear what's out there, and I'm like, and let's just be honest, I'm like, that shit's whack, that shit's garbage. I'm like, you know what I mean? I fucking kill half these dudes, blah, blah, blah. I get in my cocky shit, right?
Yeah.
And then I'm like, all right, it's time,
it's
time to go again. Let's go. So, you know what I mean? It inspires me. But really, it really starts with hearing other people's music and just really getting inspired to want to pick up a pen again.
Who inspires you the most?
So many artists. There's just so many, especially like I said, on the funk and soul side, but hip hop. You know what I mean? We talked about it before, kind of off air, but just that 90s caliber of hip hop was just, it's just, you know what I mean? The MCs back then, from producers, the MCs, the DJs, shit, even the B-boys, all the elements, we just cut from a different cloth. Because, like, even though we talked about it, starting in the 70s and the 80s, like, hip-hop in the 90s was just something different.
Yeah,
right?
most definitely.
And I'm glad to say, and I'm proud to say that I'm cut from that same cloth, and we started as a group in '91, so it's literally the first year in the 90s.
Do you feel like the hip hop were in the '80s were more like for dancing and stuff, and then in the '90s it came to more of like violence? Do you guys?
Yeah,
I don't know about it's just violence. I felt like in the '80s, like people were doing their thing because it was only what they were doing. Right, I felt like the '90s, as much as like let's say on the West Coast, you may have had, some gangster rap, but on the East, you may have had some socially conscious. But I feel there's always been kind of a mix of all of it. You just had to find it, and that's the beauty of underground hip hop is there's always been artists that are out there. You just got to dig to find them. Because there's a shitload of them, believe me. Like you know what I mean. Like there's just so many talented artists and just about every city you could think of.
Why do you feel like they're underground and they're not? A lot of people don't know about them. Do you feel like there's a certain reason?
I feel like a lot of people don't know about them. They're just not commercial, right? It's just not. You know what I mean? A lot of cats, unless they're on like a mix show with the DJ, you know what I mean? That's spinning their vinyl or that's aware of them. I feel like the fan base, the cores, people know who they are, but the commercial radio avenue of it is not playing them. You know what I'm saying? But that's why there's college radio. Like I said, there's DJs that are gonna spin your shit, and now we're in a whole different environment, different ball game with the advent of the internet, right? And fucking social media and SoundCloud, and before that it was MP3.com and Ayuma and CD Baby. The list goes on. Like music just keeps going, and it's accessible now. But it's also we're at a point now where everything is so quick, and like our attention span is like. There's not many people even putting out albums still, right? So for me, like I'm old school. I want to give you something visually to take a look. I want you to see the credits. I'm one of those cats. I want to open it up. I want to see who produced that shit, where you engineered it, what city you were in when you drop any liner notes you can give me. I want that because you're not going to get that on Spotify.
Yeah,
remember
we
you could get it, but you're not going to get it 9 times out of 10. So
we used to open up the CDs and they had a whole bunch of like pictures of when they were in the studio, the lyrics.
Yep.
It was different. Now it's just sometimes put out there, which the internet is kind of good because like our show gets to expose people that people don't get to see. But yeah, I do miss those. Yeah, you have to really get creative from how you make your disc to.
Yeah, well, before, you remember when we would go to concerts and car shows and stuff, and then you used to have people slanging the CDs. They would be out there in their cassettes as
the
well.
Vinyl, yeah.
Their cassettes and their
CDs,
CDs,
vinyl,
and now it's
cassettes.
just like, the internet just made so easy
Now
for everybody.
Those little MP3s, right? Or what are they called? The little ones?
USBs, yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So you figure, look at, you got Spotify now, right? And there's people that, when I'm not just saying Spotify in general, because there's different there's different platforms you could put your music up, Apple Music, all kinds of them. But there's people blowing up right now, or let's just say 5 years ago on SoundCloud, which was another avenue to put up your music, right? Now let's talk about present time. Now you could put something up on TikTok,
Yeah.
right?
And go viral.
And go fucking viral.
Yeah.
That shit's, you know what I mean? Like, from a standpoint of all the work and the effort and the shit we had to do back then just to make a CD, right? Or to put out an album.
Shit,
Like, we had to get real fucking studio time. Like, I had to
remember
go
going
pay.
to Best Buy, sitting there and picking your songs and then like maneuvering, or was that? Remember you
Talking
had to
about
go
the
in there and
headphones
make your
and shit? Yeah.
and make your own CD.
Oh, shit, you're taking it back.
Yeah, that's.
way
I
back.
remember just going in there and making my own CD and having my own like music and
Yeah.
everything. You know what I'm saying? That I wanted. I made so much bomb CD. Louis used to come and take all my CDs. Shit, don't be lying.
So times have changed,
Don't be
ladies.
lying
Times have
to
changed.
me.
He's like,
Shit.
yeah, right.
Yeah. but yeah, but that was like, that's what we used to do. Now it's just like we click it, throw it in, put it in, and it's ready. I mean, it took some of the fun out, but I mean, it made it convenient because life
But
is
did
so
it
fast-paced.
also take some of the money out, the profits for the artists?
Oh, absolutely.
You know, because it's
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
I would totally, if people was to come back with CDs, I would totally buy a CD. I want to help something. All this, how to link to the internet, to, you know, it's just, I can't. Sometimes my car won't do that. We have old school cars.
I have cars that still take CD players.
Yeah,
so.
Monte still has
mine
CDs.
still has a
I still buy
cassette.
Well, let's put it this way. I brought you guys some CDs. So,
Oh, we'll get
Yeah.
you. We got all excited.
Yes.
yeah, I brought you CDs, so you're going to have to figure out how to fucking play it.
I got
You
your
know?
Oh, we got,
I got the vinyl
we got
record.
lowriders, old
There it
school
is.
cars,
Yeah,
you know.
Chula got the vinyl. All right, so you don't get a CD,
We
Chula.
still
I
got
want
the
a
big
CD
body
still.
Benzes and Lexus.
I mean, I
and the
probably have it,
Escalades,
though.
old school,
Yeah.
that just
I might
keep
have that
CDs
CD,
still.
Right, right.
Do you remember when they upgraded to the CD changer in the back? You had to put the CD changer in the back. You could put like, one time it was like 3, then it went to 6, and then now 12.
So now we're talking about when you had to carry books and books. That's
Okay,
what,
no,
that's
I
my
still
compa.
have that.
Damn,
I have
hey,
a
shout out to my
bunch of
compa
them.
Joe.
Yeah, I still have two,
He had the
but
big
yeah.
ass, you know what I mean? Probably
I
like
used
two
to
of
put
them.
like
big-
the little
Mine's
thing.
like this right
Yeah,
now.
yeah,
I have
for
it
Man,
still.
maybe we could throw it back to the old days, man. Making the CDs and doing like the whole, you
Burning
know,
them.
images.
You
Yeah,
know
that's
how
what's
you know how the
beautiful.
kids these days they trade fucking Pokemon cards? Maybe
Yes.
we could get together and trade CDs and shit.
Right.
I want that one. I'll give you 2
They're all
of these for
scratched.
that one.
Yeah.
You know
I skipped that song.
that shit would be
One
dope.
CD that always disappeared from my CD collection was The Chronic.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
man, I
yeah,
could
yeah,
never
yeah,
keep that fucking
Yeah.
CD.
Yeah, I still
I
got
know
it.
who took it
You still
too.
got it too?
Oh, yeah, I still got it. I got the wax, too. I got the vinyl, too. Fuck.
Yeah,
Oh,
man.
banger.
yeah, that's gangster.
It's a
Yeah.
banger.
Bringing back
So
some memories.
the movement, what inspired you to create that one? Like, that's very Raza.
That was
towards the
personal.
Raza.
Yeah, that was definitely, you know what I mean? You figured that was done around the first May Day rally in 2006. So if you look at the cover, actually the CD's over there. If you look at the cover, you know what I mean? It's a picture of me, and you see the, you know, the mass of people, you know, around MacArthur Park and,
Yeah.
and you know what I mean, us out there. And so that day, myself, the homies from Global City, and if you remember Global City,
Yeah, we do.
we performed, and amongst others, you know what I mean? And just definitely being there for the people. So the movement, it was actually the full title of that album was The Movement, Strength, and Numbers.
Yeah.
You know, it was really just about us saying, hey, we're going to come together. We're going to fucking stand strong. And you asked earlier, Krazy RACE. What is Krazy RACE? Krazy RACE is us. You know what I mean? It's a people. The name's plural.
Right,
so
Krazy
every
RACE.
time, you know what I mean, I've ever gotten a mic, it's not like I'm talking for myself. I'm talking for us. Right? And you don't have
The
to agree.
Raza.
You don't have to agree with everything I say, but just know what I'm saying is coming from a good fucking place. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? And,
that's right.
and like we talked off air before too, like, you know what I mean? You can't just trust everything because somebody says it, right? You gotta check the source and check the facts. And the Movement album was one of those albums where, you know what I mean, I dug deep, and you know what I mean, I did my research. And so a lot of those songs, like, you know what I mean, it's kind of like, I want to say a love letter to the movement, but it's just saying I'm with you. You know what I mean? I stand with Corky Gonzalez, you know what I'm saying, Dolores Huerta, Cesar Chavez, you know, all the people that came before me and stood up for their rights. And that's really what the movement, Strength and Numbers, was about. And it's
You could hear it in
Oh,
the
yeah.
song,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, if you listen to it, you
it's
know.
deep. It's a deep record. And the movement song itself is a banger, straight up. Movement's on there. Global City, The Last Hour is on there. I'm trying to think of, you know, Fidel Rodriguez, who was, you know what I mean, one of the radio hosts for KPFK, Divine Forces Radio, who was one of the few independent networks that was putting out that kind of content. Like, he was actually one of the first people to play Immortal Technique here on the West Coast. So, like, I've been around this shit for a long time, you know what I mean? And Krazy RACE, I'm always going to stand for the people.
Stand for the people,
That's
that's
what's
right.
up.
That Raza.
What is your thought process when making a song? Do you get the beat first? Do you write it and then how does that work for you?
Yeah, great question. A lot of MCs, vary and differ. For me, I let the beat talk to me. So I'll collect, you know, for example, like right now, there's probably about probably 14 to 15 folders of just different producers. You know what I mean? That I fuck with, and I'll just kind of go through and based on vibe, mood, or like what I mean, what I want to write about, like what's kind of popping in my head. It's not to say I know exactly what I'm writing about, but there's kind of a theme or a concept, and then I just find that beat that brings that out. And then once I have that beat, the pen just goes.
I feel like beat's important. Like
Oh,
the beat.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Like when
And
you
that's
had
why-
played that beat, I was just already picturing myself on the porch drinking a 40, which I've been sober for 6 months, but damn,
Right.
I was like, shit.
Don't
It
be
makes
making us
you
drink.
feel, right? It makes you feel.
Yeah,
You
Yeah,
feel it.
no, it's-
Yeah.
that's you
That's
know what I
the
mean,
thing with
and that's
music.
one thing I want to do is I want to give, while I'm here, what I mean, with you guys, I want to give the producers their flowers right now, because they're a big part of what I do, right? Like, I get interviewed 9 times out of 10, but it's not like I have the whole production staff right here with me, or even even the people that do the graphic design, my music videos. I want to give them all their flowers because they're a big part of what I do. And I said this to you guys before. I think one thing I'm pretty good at least for me, is having that ear for what's gonna work, the chemistry, right? Like knowing, because as an MC, we feel like we could fucking rap on anything. Like we could just bust. No, but you gotta be a little bit strategic. You gotta be a little selective of what message are you trying to get across. What are you trying to do? If I'm trying to do some gangster shit, or if I'm trying to do some street shit, I'm not gonna use a political style beat. If I'm trying to do life, I'm not gonna use a hip hop type, right? That, you know what I mean? It has to fit the vibe, and I have a pretty good ear for that.
Yeah.
And that's, to answer your question, it really goes back to the beats. Like the beats, it's primary, and then I'll go from there.
So let's compare, like from the 90s, like how much easier, is it to produce music?
To make an album, then till now, then was a lot more difficult. You know what I'm saying? It was
Cost a lot more, right?
it was more feria, a lot more money, because 9 times out of 10 in the early 90s, if you were trying to do a quality record, unless you really knew somebody that had like a studio, there wasn't a lot of home studios.
You have
know
to
what I
pay
mean?
studio time, right?
You had to pay the studio time. You had to, you're either recording the 2-inch or half-inch or maybe even ADATs or DAT. Like there was a lot of different formats out there, but it cost more money. So technically, if you wanted to go in and cut a record, then you should probably already have that record fucking ready to go. Because if not, you're going in there and you're paying hourly just to write a record. And that could cost, a few hundred, 500.
How many visits?
Just for that one day for one or two songs, right?
Yeah.
Whereas now, the majority of us, that been in it and been doing it, we've probably had, studios for 10, probably even, 10, 15 years.
And you have a studio
Yeah,
too.
we have our own home studios where everything's now pretty much digital, right? Now I could, through my computer, I have what's called a digital audio workstation. It's the DAW. I got my mic. I got my mic booth.
So different
You know what I'm
now.
saying? I could just fucking go in. Literally, I'm not even bullshitting. Like I can go in my shorts and boxers and shit and cut a record.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Right?
Just a click away.
Yeah.
I remember.
Yeah, yeah. I'm like, whoa. Yeah, you saw that, right? No, case in point, you know what I mean? I'll like with the last couple albums I was working on,
Stripe boxers or polka dots?
right? You know what I mean? I'll be working on a song and I'll just come up with, like, say, a hook or an idea, and you know what I mean? At the time, my son was, this is the mark my words. So, 5-6 years ago, he's like 15, 16. I'll be like, hey, I need you to come record me. And he's like fucking, gaming and shit in the room. And I'm like, hey, come record me. He's like, nah. Hey, come record me. So, because I got to jump in the booth instead of like running back and forth, clicking the space bar and then running into record. I'll have my son come do it. But that's the ease of it, right? To where I could teach a 15-year-old pretty much how to cut, edit, rewind, start from here, let's do it. And then I'll even say, okay, hey, remember that hook I was writing? Go jump on it. Oh, no, Dad, you know what I mean? I don't want to get on it. Like, with my voice, like this. Like, no, watch. Try this, what I do. You're gonna sing the part or rap the part I do.
Yeah.
We're gonna harmonize together. Watch what I do with your vocals after. And it's instantaneous.
That's crazy.
Where before, all that shit was done on tape.
Yeah.
Like, you literally had to splice fucking tape, put it together, try to fucking throw an effect on it through some hardware. Like it was a whole different. Like
Yeah.
we can do shit. Like you know what I mean. I could send you a track right now. In a week later, you can send me your vocals. I can send it to him, and he's in
do
Mexico.
that
and
because,
it's,
like I said, I got a
She
lot to
likes to
say.
rap.
She
There it
wants
is.
to make
She
a
wants-
rap.
I hate my fucking voice. I can't
wanna
stand
spit some
it.
bars, huh?
I want to spit some bars. If you know what I'm
But she
saying,
needs to
because
breathe.
I'm going hard. No, I'm just
Hey!
kidding.
That's
I
it.
just like
That's it.
fucking around. Ah!
The crowd saying yes.
I'm just
Try again,
kidding.
try
I'm not
again.
a rapper,
Yeah.
but still,
So,
like, you
because
know?
now, even now, AI does your. We did like a whole song with AI. You know
Oh,
what
yeah.
I mean?
And
Yeah.
that's a whole. See, now we're
That's
talking a whole
crazy.
different element, right?
It's,
Like,
you
AI
just
is
put,
crazy.
literally
Yeah.
there's an app that
Yep.
somebody told me, and I just put like kind of like what I wanted about,
Yep.
and it created a whole song with the beat. It sings it, and then you just go in there now and you just tone it to what that's tone
Right.
to where before you had to buy beats, and to make a beat it wasn't like you had the persons that was talented to make the beats.
Yep.
So and now it's like it's just all AI. Somebody told me they're making a song. They're like. Then when I got to the studio, they're telling me it's AI, and I'm thinking, and I was like, no. When I heard it, I could tell. You could tell it's
Yeah.
AI, definitely. But it's just so easy to become anything you want nowadays with technology.
Well, I guess you know what I mean. If you're somebody trying to get ideas, I get it. But I'll tell you right now, any real MC is not fucking using
Yeah.
no AI. Like,
Yeah.
we're just we're not you know what I mean like
Let me
granted people
delete
use
that.
ChatGPT. No, but granted people use ChatGPT for work and for school and all that shit. And I'm sure there's probably
It's
some
for
MCs
fun.
out there. But if you a real MC, you are not fucking using AI.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
Yeah, for
recognize
sure.
you, the ones
Yeah.
that are like
Yeah.
AI words. We know the
Like I
AI
said,
words.
there's too
I
many
don't
of
even
us.
know
We're
what
cut
that
from
is,
a
but I'm
different
just like,
cloth. Like we're just, you know what I mean. Like give me a pen. I don't even. It's funny because I'll transfer my shit to the phone after to make it easier to go into the booth. You know what I'm saying? To rap my shit. And I'll be honest, I've never been one to memorize my shit. That's my own guilty fucking flaw, right? Like I'll write a song and I won't memorize it.
Yeah.
I just don't do it. I fucking write it. It's in the phone, and then I'll go to the studio. We'll drop it. But to this day, I still got to write with pen and pad. I
Yeah.
always
old
write
school
with
way.
a pen and fucking pad, and then I'll transfer it later once the record's done.
That's dope.
That's just old school. Like I just, you know what I mean? Like I'm cut from that cloth where even my daily planner, I still write shit down. Like to come here, I wrote that shit down because if not, like it won't get done. I check it off. Like I'm just old school like that.
Yeah,
It's just-
old
right. You got fucking apps and all that shit. Take care of it. Nah, give me a pen and paper. I'm good.
So
No, no.
where do you think like hip hop came from? So a lot of people say like rap and hip hop came from New York. That's where it.
That's what I heard.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I think you know what I mean. I think if you want to talk about the hip hop that we know today, I would definitely came from you know what I mean. The boogie down came from Bronx. You know what I mean? African American, Boricuas, Puerto Ricans were there from day one. You know what I'm saying? And some people will question this, but literally hip hop is as old as I am. You know what I mean? Some people will say with Cool Herc, and I think it was 73. Some people will put that stamp on it. Other people will challenge it, but think about it that way. Like hip hop's been around
Would they
since
challenge it by
1973.
going up or going
No,
down?
they would probably say it probably started even before that.
Like, yeah, that's what I was,
Yeah, they say it probably started before that. But when they first started, like, the DJ was cutting and breaking the record, like, and doing that type of shit, like, that was 1973 that they started doing it. So that's how long hip hop's been around.
What do you think about the advance, like, with hip hop, like going from, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s to the music now? What do you think about the music now? I know your feelings on.
Yeah, nah, it's everybody has their own lane, right? Like who am I to judge anybody for what they're doing? I just know what I do. I feel like with my music, like I've never, even my own homies, I got a couple homies like, hey dog, like you're so fucking talented, but like why didn't you ever try to write something for radio? Like why didn't you even take that lane or even go with the producer and let him produce you? I don't know. I just felt like an integral part of me was always staying true to me.
Yeah.
So it was always just pick up the pen and do me. But now as far as music, like I said, everybody has their own lane, especially what I mean with the younger MCs in the game. But I also feel like it all goes full circle.
Yeah.
It still goes full circle.
I just feel like the way they, like the new members like Amigos, Future, Drake, like all them. I mean, I guess they're in a different era. However, they're rapping. It's the way they raised, right?
But that's the South, right?
Yeah.
That's the dirty. I actually went out there for a couple years in college, and I was out there from '95 to '97.
Oh, wow.
Check this out, right? So that scene came a little later, right? But Atlanta was already doing it. But also keep in mind, Atlanta was the birth of Outkast and Goody Mob.
Yeah.
That's hip hop.
Yeah.
So even though even though that's what I'm saying, every city is gonna have that gritty shit. Every city is gonna have that poppy shit, or hip hop or pop, whatever you want to fucking call it, right? Like you're always gonna have substance, and you're always gonna have commercial.
Okay. What
That's
do
it.
you think about the female rappers?
Female rappers are dope. You know what I mean? Like,
Who have you worked with? Because I know you named some people.
who have I worked
Snow.
with? From female, I worked with my girl Nesma Shea. I've worked with Diamonique.
Yeah.
I've worked with several. My name's drawing a blank right now, but
Didn't you say something about Snow, the project?
no, Snow the Product was on a compilation that we put out, that my label put out, Realism Records, back in, what did I say? Like 2013, I think we put it out. It was a double disc, all female lineup, all
That's dope.
spitters from all over the United States, New York, Atlanta, Cali, Florida. Like it was dope. Black and brown. It was dope. It was a dope compilation that got released, and that was our way of saying like, hey, you know what I mean? Like we're gonna show love and give the females their voice. You know what I mean?
was
Not
it
that they
called?
needed it from us, but the label from our side, me and my compadre the Joker were like, hey, let's do this. And Nesma Shea was the one that kind of curated, got all the artists together, and like I said, Snow the Product ended up being on that project.
And what was it called? The
Queens of the Mic.
Queens of the Mic, yeah.
Yeah, Queens of the Mic it's a double disc. Yeah,
That's
and I couldn't
dope.
find one. Or else I would have brought it.
That's
Damn.
dope.
When I listened, there was something that Tupac said. It said, "Don't just listen to the music, listen to the lyrics." And I'm very old school. I'm kind of like abuelita, I don't do like the whole crazy stuff, like
All the
abuelita,
time. She does
But
not look like an abuelita.
I really do enjoy people that have good lyrics. They're just not talking about some bullshit. You know
Right.
what I mean? And I appreciate your music. I listen to it. I like what you talk about. You know what I mean? A lot of our older generation appreciate that, because a lot of the things that are out there, they're just trash. They don't talk. It's just a beat, and I catch myself bumping some of that music.
Right.
Or
if it's catchy, it's catchy, right?
Yeah.
'cause
the
it's
beat.
catchy.
It's
It's the beat.
though. It's the beat.
Yeah, and
But
then
it-
I'm
but it
hearing
could
the
be-
lyrics. I'm like, ugh.
It could be a chorus too. It could be the hook, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Sometimes simplicity works, right? Like you don't. That's the other part with being an MC is, you know what I mean? A lot of like really super dope fucking spitters, like they may just overbar out, like they're just saying too much. Like
Yeah.
it's just like, bro, just keep it a little more simplistic, and you probably would reach a bigger audience. But once again, it's up to the individual themselves if they want to do that, right? Like like I said earlier, for me, it's just about I'm doing music that I want to do, but I'm also doing it from the standpoint, like I said, this is Krazy RACE. I want to speak for us, right?
So I know when I hang out with my kids and stuff, I'll be tripping out, right? Because my little girl, she'll be in her room cleaning, the door shut and everything, and she's bumping Ice Cube. I'm like, this. I know you had said something before that, the music, you have your mom to thank for that.
Absolutely, yeah. Oh yeah, she.
Who's your mom? What is she about? And what does she teach you?
Yeah, my mom. That's that's the backbone of the family. That's
Shorty.
Yeah, I call her. Her nickname is Shorty Rock.
Shorty Rock, cute.
Yeah, because she's like 4'11", 5-footer. Not that I'm that big myself, right? But yeah, she's what I mean. She's just she's my everything. But when it came to music, she just loves music. Like it's just undeniable like love for music. My dad's complete opposite. You know what I mean? More of the introvert. Like you know what I mean? Rather be posted unless unless he's had a drink or two, then he may open up. But for the most part, my mom was me growing up. A typical Friday or Saturday night, the familia would be over. My mom would be bumping oldies, two-stepping in the living room, right? And I'm 8, 9 years old, listening to this music. And this was kind of the environment I was raised in. With, when she was cooking, when she was cleaning, music was always bumping. It was just always a part of my life. So I think a big inspiration and a part of her love for music is what obviously instilled in me. And just made me say, "Fuck, this is something I want to do."
Oh, sure,
This this is kind of a calling for me. And then, like I said earlier, when I got to hear hip hop for the first time and really get to bump it, you know, some of those OG and the pioneers, it just influenced the shit out of me to pick up that pen.
What does your mom think that how you got involved with music and stuff? What was her output and input on that?
Yeah, she's always been supportive. You know what I mean? Been through, you know, many of the shows over the years. You know, I can't take her to all of them, but, you know what I mean, especially the ones like out of state and out of country sometimes. But, you know, she's definitely been supportive of what I do. I'm not saying she's bumping all my shit by any means, right? But every now and then I'll play something. I'm like, you remember that? She's like, yeah, but there's certain ones that I'll catch her and she'll be like, you know, she's like this.
She's like bobbing her head.
There's a couple times on IG I'll go like that and get her, right? And she's like, I got you, you know what I mean? But yeah, she's all, you know what I mean? She's like, you know, like I said, she's my ride or die. That's mama.
I
You know what
love
mean?
it.
Love her. Love my pops too. You know what I mean? Love my family. You know what I mean? I'm definitely one that's been, you know, writing for my family as well. And music, man. I just love music.
What was the first song you wrote? Do you remember the first one? And what inspired you to write that? Like, where were you? Like, do you remember?
That's a good question. I don't even know if I remember the first song I wrote.
That you were sitting there, it was like,
Yeah,
you know?
like I could tell you, cause I taking it back when, you know, I mean, when I go way back to, you know, 10, 11, and I told you about, you know, K-Day and being influenced when I started writing those poems. I will tell you this, and this is something a lot of people don't know unless you know me personally, was when I first started rapping, you know what I mean, Krazy RACE didn't exist, right? That didn't happen until 91 when we started as a group. I used my initials because an MC is an MC, right? Mm-hmm. My initials are MC.
Oh.
My first and middle initials MC, and then so I would just go by MC, MCR, MCR. You know what I mean? Just to roll the R when I first started. And then, you know what I mean, over the years, when we started Krazy RACE, for those that know, Marky became Marky Boy. So from the group, I was Marky Boy, no longer Eddie, and I was Marky Boy from Krazy RACE. And then when I took the name and fucking ran with it, kind of like mid-90s, I've been Krazy RACE ever since. But every now and then, you'll see somebody, hey, what up, Marky Boy? Because they just that's how they know me from way back when. But going back to the first song, I'm trying to think off of. I think one that kind of hits home was like probably 90s. Because I did songs in the 90s. This is like early 90s, right? But one that hits home that never got released was when Pac died.
Oh.
You wrote a song then?
Yeah, I wrote a song to Pac, and this was, you know, I think it was like Friday the 13th, September 13th, something like 96, 97, or 95. I could be wrong on the year. And that night, when he passed, I wrote a memorial song, and that is in my head because it never got released. I never released it, but it was after that I started to write my first EP, which eventually being a 4-song demo that I did press up and put out before the first full-length album.
Well, you should have just let it go. And
well, that's the beauty of it now, right? Is like
you can go back.
You know, I had a homeboy, you know what I mean, in the industry that put out his like demos or features, and he called it Straight Bullets, right? So this is something that I could do now. I can go back and put out those unreleased
You should,
demos
because we're
and
intrigued. I want to hear it.
I know. I want to hear it now too.
Yeah, it's
got released.
When was your first breakthrough? When was your first breakthrough? When did you break? Like you said, I'm here. Like, you know.
Yeah, I think the first time where I felt like respected, appreciated, and like, okay, I got something, was in '93. Two different events. One was at USC. They did the first Chicano Rap Fest, and I remember a bunch of artists were there. I think even Psycho Realm was there, and I just walked up, literally with vinyl. You know what I mean? Like back in the day, how you like we talked about before, you just had your vinyl, like, hey, I want to rap. You know what I mean? And they're like, get up there. They just let me up, and I was like, all right, cool. And I did my thing, and there was love. And I think I was rapping to like Too Short, The Ghetto, the fucking instrumental. Like I didn't have my own beat at the time, right? But after that, I did another car show at East LA College. Not a car show. I did another college show at East LA College, and some cat named Jerry Davis. I'm trying to think of Poetic Groove. I can't remember the label. He saw me, and he was there to see a group from the Bay Area. I believe they're called Funky Aztecs, another Latino group from the Bay. They were already kind of established, right? This is the same year. Well, he saw me, went to see them, saw me in the two MCs that I was with, this Krazy RACE, liked our shit. We ended up having a meeting with them. He put us on to do some shit, and from there I went and did a song with Kid Frost for a compilation in 1993. Was with Kid Frost and ALT.
Oh wow.
So that was like the first time where the door opened. I went into like a real recording session. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Real studio
this is
time.
real.
Somebody, yeah, this is the real deal. Like, you know, I'm coming in with my slingshot, fucking, you know what I mean? Like, thinking I'm buff and shit. Like, it's just, yeah, you know what I mean? Because at the time I was probably fucking working out gun ho and shit. But yeah, I remember that period, that, you know what I mean? That time reference, just because, like, all those things happened within that same year. And, you know, that was 93. You figure a couple of years later, I left for Atlanta, go to college for music shit, for recording engineering and the business side of it. Came back, launched my independent record label, Realism Records, which was MCR Productions at the time, my initials again, and then we started Realism Records in 2007.
I remember that. And you produce music videos too,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah.
And movies, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because we both
Yeah.
came out in a movie
Oh,
together.
yeah.
Well, not
Yeah,
together.
that's-
We had just separate parts, you know?
Yup.
That one should have came out more.
Yeah, no, and it still could, you know what I mean? You know, shout out to Augustine, you know what I mean? And go check it out. Unlock Pictures, you know what I mean? We got a
The
movie
Story,
out there called
that's
My
what it's
Story. But yeah, no, I've directed a lot of my own music videos, directed music videos for many other hip hop MCs, you know, male and female. Just you know, done my own, you know, dibble and dabble in short film as well. But I like visuals too, right? Like audio side of it's one thing. I like to pick up the pen, but you know, I mean, as I've aged, you know, with the wisdom and grace, now I like to pick up the camera and let loose. So
That's what's up.
What you
there'll be
th-
some more shit coming from me soon.
What you think our Raza is not like up there yet? Like, what you think is just not when?
think
I
we
know
have-
that we're starting to.
Yeah,
you
no, I
know?
think we've had our moments, right? Like I think we've been bubbling all along. I think right now, you know, with this younger generation, I feel like because of social media, right, with the advent and all the shit that's around it, I feel like right now visually we're probably the most popping, right? As far as like, you know what I mean, people being out in the forefront and catching record deals and shit. Not to say we, you know, in the 90s homies were catching deals. Like, you know what I mean, Rhyme Poetic Mafia, I talked about him earlier, you know, was one of the first, you know, Latino groups to get put out on Giant. And you know, they ran with South Central Cartel back and these are two Mexican cats. So, you know what I mean, there's always been deals, right? You had Frost, you had Mello, right? You know what I mean, of course you had Cypress, and numerous others, you know what I mean, independent wise, but I just feel like with podcasts, with the visual, with social media, we're at a place right now where our story's being told in numerous facets by numerous age groups, numerous people, numerous, you know, ethnicities within our cultura, right? Like there's so many of us that have a story to tell.
Thank God for social media, because you know what, we wasn't
East
getting
to West though, like not just here, right? Let's
Yeah.
keep it keep it 100. Like you can go to Detroit, and there's probably a Latino spitter. I got homies in Houston that are fucking ill. I got people back in the East that are ill. Like there's a lot of us out there, you know.
Oh, you just made a rap song right now. I got it, homies back then. Yeah, I got
in the East, in the West.
Us.
everything to
gotta
me
put
is
it
a
in the
song.
studio.
Everything to me is a song. When people talk, I was like, oh damn. Like she said something yesterday
want her
about
to
getting
do a
booty or some
song,
shit.
yeah.
I was like, oh shit, that's a song.
All right,
Right?
so
Did I
Vanessa,
not say that?
we need a beat for Vanessa. Vanessa
We
needs
do.
a beat.
Yeah,
We
we
need
do.
help.
We have to get her
That's
in the
it.
She's
studio.
been like
I'm not
itching
lyrical.
for this. since we
Sell
started
at
the
this
podcast.
number because we need money.
That's it. Hey, producers.
I'm not lyrical, but I'm fun though. You know
All
what I'm
donations
saying?
are welcome.
Yes.
There it is. There it
No,
is.
we definitely have to do
Donations.
something because she's been wanting to. She's been itching to do something. And, you know, like I tell them, like right now, you know, we're doing this. We want to showcase our culture. We want to tell stories that hasn't been told. We want to, you know, but we also want to have fun. Like me, you know, I mean, I'm halfway there, so I don't know. But I like to sing.
Halfway, where are you going?
I'm gonna go to a fun place, but you know,
I love
you
her.
you'll make it. You know, but my dad's a mariachi, so I grew up with a lot of Mexican music in my house, and I love singing. I just love singing. My dad always says, ay, mija, no tienes la voz, you know, because if not, you could have been a mariachi. I mean, they make a lot of money now, but but the
There you
other
go.
day I got on the green screen and I'm like, hey, you know, we was looking at the place where I got the green screen. I told her, hey, record me, whatever. She's like, okay, I'll record you. And then I started singing some mariachi. I don't know, maybe, you know, I don't know what song, but I told her, you know what? I want to do some songs like that. You know I don't sing good, but there's so many things to make your voice sound so great, and I just want to have an album for me. You know what I mean? It's not even
do
for,
it,
for
yeah.
you know. So just do whatever you want to do. So
did we talk about last night,
have
Chula?
to get you to sing
Remember,
because
you
I
know what I
want
mean?
you to.
I was telling her
I
last night
appreciate that.
is don't talk about it, just do it.
Just
That's
do it.
half the battle.
I see
Right?
her.
That's half the
doing it.
battle. Like, and that's the one thing for me is investing the time, the energy, my own money into my own label, putting out my own music. Nobody
Yeah.
put me out. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't sign no deal. I didn't shop it to get signed. No, I said, fuck this. I'm gonna put out my own music. And then eventually, as I started doing that, I started putting out, you know, other artists under the label. But that's it. It's committing to it and doing it.
That's what we were saying, right? It's like you're out there, you're putting in the work, and that's what counts is
Yep.
being out there doing what you do.
Yep. It's a sacrifice.
It
You know
is.
what I mean? This shit is not, you know what I mean? You got to be built for it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's not for everybody.
I see you doing a
Yes,
Spanish song.
Yeah, yeah, I'm gonna do some because I got some
Some
songs in my
corridos or
heart that
something.
Get it.
I want to take out. Yeah, you know, we even thought like maybe a corrido and she could sing in English. Now they're doing all that. They're doing corridos in
mix.
Spanish and they're mixing them. You know what I mean? We're here. You know, I'm just
That's it.
excited for our
That's
Raza.
it.
We're really here and we're stepping it up and. Hey, we don't need this person's to give us a P Diddy deal no more. You know what I mean?
And that's what's crazy. Going back to that is early, when we talked about it then till now, right? I was speaking in terms of from a hip hop standpoint, but you know, I mean, mariachis, norteño, ranchera, like that shit's huge, right?
Yeah.
Like for years, you know what I mean? Like if you're killing it and you're going to, like how many Spanish speaking countries are there? Like you could just make some feria, you could just travel money because there's a lot to go get. You know what I'm saying?
You know what? People don't know, but the Raza is we're the people that most money put out there. You know what I mean? It's like
Support.
everybody's trying to chase this hip hop, but no, you know, there's other money to be made. You know what I mean? Yeah, we're here, and like I said, I'm excited for it because I see it happen. I see how we went from the 70s, 80s, 90s. You know what I mean?
Yep.
How everything, and now it's like okay, you know, we're telling our stories, and
Yep.
I think a lot of it is because we're first or second or third generations, and we wasn't speaking. But now we have a story to tell. Well, now there's history behind us to tell. You know what I mean? So
That's why my last album was titled that, Stories to Tell.
wow.
Wow.
Yeah, my last album I put out was 2022, and I'm like, I had mentioned that I referenced it on the Together We Shine album. Chula,
Okay.
the song that you like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When I'm talking to the girl, I'm like, you know, I got a story to tell, and I'm like, when we're going back and talking about new album titles, I was like, that's it. Stories to tell. That's it. You know what I mean?
Well, would you like to do a little something for us? I mean, we have the green screen right here.
Get
We
your
could
green
get
screen
into
on.
it,
Oh,
and you know,
shit.
get a
One
little
song.
something going on.
All right, we're gonna put Raider Stadium behind me or what? I'm a
Yes.
Jack.
Raiders.
Come on my hand.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's
Put that in
go.
there. Okay, put
Well,
it
I
in
want to
there.
thank you, ladies, for having me. You know what I mean? Shout out to the Culture Queens. I appreciate you
Thank
guys
you.
for what you're
Thank you
doing.
for
and
coming.
Thank you so
in.
much for sharing your story.
Of course.
Yes, thank you for being here. Appreciate your time. I know it's like you're busy, but I'm glad that you're getting back into it.
Oh yeah. Oh
You
yeah.
took a break, but
Hey,
you're getting back
he
into
said
it.
I've been in this shit.
It's true. You know what I mean? But every now and then you gotta take a little hiatus. You know, we got.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a family man. You know what I mean? Shout out to my son Dominic. Love him. You know, gonna be graduating college. He's in his going into his last semester.
Awesome.
So you know what I mean?
That's
So grown up
So,
now.
yeah, so
That's what's
so
up.
proud of him. So like I said, when you know there's those times when you just got to take a step back and be like, hey, reflect on life.
Yes.
Like let life play, and when you want to get back in it,
It's
it's all
there.
good. It's all good.
Well,
The
you wanna-
studio's-
You
the
want to
studio's
shout
right
out
there.
You want to shout out your social media where they could find you?
Yeah, just you know what I mean, at Krazy RACE with a K, Krazy RACE. You could pretty much find me in the majority of the social media platforms, as well as all the digital music outlets. As far as the website, if you want to pick up merch or the CDs, it's Realism with a Z, realism.bigcartel.com. That's where you can find me, or just crazyrace.com.
Your legacy. What do you want to leave behind?
I gotta take a drink on that one. Hold on.
Yeah. Think about it. What?
Shout out Canelo, no sponsor. Yeah, the legacy.
That
So
legacy.
that's
A
a
hard
difficult
one.
one. Yeah, this it's a real difficult one because you know, um, I feel like I'm intelligent enough, but I'm cocky enough to know like what I'm good at. But I also feel like you gotta humble yourself, and with the legacy, when one's speaking about self, right? Like I'm just like for me, I think the best thing I could do, and what I've been able to do is with the catalog, leaving that music behind, right? Because they always say like your music speaks for itself. Like when I move on from this earth, like that's gonna be
It's
here
gonna be there, still
for
there.
you. But from a legacy standpoint, I still think first and foremost, more than anything besides this music shit, is I was a good parent, a good father, right? You know what I mean, a good son. You know what I'm saying? Good family man. And not to say that I'm always am, because I could be very disrespectful at times. Let's be 100. But I acknowledge it. We try to get better on the daily. You know what I mean? And that's about it. But really, you know what I mean? I appreciate everybody for their support over all these years, from going to my shows. You know what I'm saying? Picking up these albums. A lot of international fan base that just show me mad love, and I appreciate you guys. I respect the shit out of you, for real, for real. But I don't know. Legacy's a tough word for me. I don't know. I feel like maybe somebody else could tell that story for me, about me, right?
About
Like,
you.
That's how your legacy lives on. It's
yeah,
just through
yeah,
the person that you are. I just
right.
feel like it's not what you have or what you had. It's how you treat people and how you come
Absolutely.
across people.
Absolutely.
They're gonna be like, "Hey, that person
Energy
was
goes a long way,
amazing." One
you know?
hundred percent. One
Well,
hundred
you said it
percent.
right, and
Yeah.
coming from me, that I know you for many years, being, a father, seeing, I know your
Yeah.
mom, your family, all that. You have been good, and you've always been very humble. Even from like years ago, from when I met you at, when you're up there rapping, you always talk to the people. They come up to you. You're never cocky with them. You're very humble and very welcoming. So, that's,
Appreciate
says
that.
a lot about you. So, but,
Thank you.
and thank you again for coming.
Of course, of course.
It's an honor
Got
to
your
have
back.
you here. You know,
We had fun.
yes.
I had
Now
a
stay
blast.
tuned for the music.
And now,
Video.
stay tuned.
Oh shit!
Rolling with the Culture Queens.
We
And
out. Cut.
Did you cut it?
Yeah.
You got to cut it. Oh shit! Let me get off the mic. Let me go eat a tamale.
Yeah, legacy. That's a hard one.
In the game.
Rolling culture queens, we're here to shine. Showcasing the culture, we're one of a kind. From the streets to the mic, we're keeping it real. With love for the art, that's the vibe we feel. Yeah, together we rise, three queens in the scene, bringing the culture, living out the dream. From low riders to fashion, we celebrate life. Respect for the hustle, we're cutting through strife. Empowered and proud, we're lifting each other. Chicana voices, we're sisters, not just mothers. So tune into our show, feel the rhythm and beat. Rolling culture queens, we can't be beat. Rolling culture queens, we're here to shine, showcasing the culture, we're one of a kind. From the streets to the mic, we're keeping it real, with love for the art, that's the vibe we feel. Yeah, here comes Big Red Chula, shining bright on the scene, with a laugh like a melody, she's living the dream. Passionate for low riders and culture, dynamic and real, she breaks all the chains, unapologetic as she closes every deal. A stunning hustler, always keeping it real. Together we rise, three queens in the scene, bringing the culture, living out the dream. From low riders to fashion, we celebrate life, respect for the hustle, we're cutting through strife. Empowered and proud, we're lifting each other, Chicano voices, we're sisters not just mothers. So tune into our show, feel the rhythm and beat. Rolling culture queens, we can't be beat. Rolling culture queens, we're here to shine, showcasing the culture, we're one of a kind. From the streets to the mic, we're keeping it real, with love.